This program brought to you by the Arts and Communications Academy at Lansdowne High School. It's the Lansdowne Show.
Hello everybody, Tyler Scott Koreas aka Kuma here. Welcome to season 5 of the Lansdowne Show. We're back. This first episode, we're showcasing the teachers, showing you all the good things happening here at Lansdowne High School. We're showcasing you teachers from different departments, showing you what we're about, showing you the good things about Lansdowne. Lansdowne's a great place. You might not know that. You might have your doubts. That's all good. We're here to show you. We're here to change your mind. So let's get into it.
Now we're heading to JROTC to ask the cadets about their battalions, what they do in their battalions, and what they want to do after high school.
Hi, I am Cadet Corporal Jacob Dooley, and welcome to the Lansdowne Viking Battalion. I myself do color guard, where it is a squad of 4 to 6. We go to games and present the flag and do the national anthem. Here in JROTC, we practice the 7 Army values. We practice integrity, honor, loyalty, courage, service, duty, and respect. I honor the most loyalty. It shows you and the rest of your battalion that you won't give up on me. Once I leave high school, I'm going to go into the Army for police force training. I believe I can make a change here and in other places.
I'm Staff Sergeant Chelsea Butler. I'm an S4. I take care of the supply room down the hall, keep everything intact. I keep everything updated in JOMS for the inspection coming up in April 2018. I keep all the ribbons, all the awards, all the cadets' clothes intact, all that good stuff. I'm so
So my name is Miss Morsberger and I teach theater here at Lansdowne. I've loved theater since I was little. I played a part in my first play when I was in 1st grade and I've been in love with it ever since. I really found a love for it when I was in high school and I went back to my middle school to start student directing the plays there. And that's when I figured out that I could teach kids how to do theater. And I saw a student on stage during the performance play her part with the direction that I had given her, and that made me feel so proud and strangely powerful.
That gave you like an inspiration to...
Absolutely. And it speaks volumes when you have a student who you thought originally was quiet and just sits in the back of the class. They start out with their head down, and then all of a sudden you see them start to perk up and blossom, and they, smile when you're completing a certain activity, or you see them perform on stage and they just kind of wow you. Kids surprise you every day, and I come into school every day knowing that they're going to give me their best shot, and I get to see it happen.
Ms. Morsberger is one of my favorite teachers. I've had her class since freshman year, so I think she's an awesome teacher. I love theater class. It's honestly up there with one of my favorite classes. I think it's a necessity to take that class. First, she shows us time and time again how passionate she can be about theater. Whenever we go into class, she knows everything about anything you need to know theater related, and I personally think that she's taught me a lot. I mean, she's shown me and other classmates, how to do things in the sound booth and, costume design, etc., etc. And she's definitely made me feel like I could do a stage role if I wanted to, if I ever chose to do so.
Advice that I would give myself is never to doubt the calling that you've been given. Sometimes I feel like I've been called to be a teacher, and there are times when I feel like that was a mistake. But I would say to myself to not give up on it, to keep going, keep persevering, even though it's hard. And I think my reaction would be a little disbelieving, but I would say, okay, we got it. Join theater. It's not just about acting, it's about confidence, and it's about fun and community and working together, building things, and making something great.
Now we're inside. I'm here in Mr. Warren's room now. Mr. Warren's only been here for 2 years, but so far he's done things that hasn't even been done before in Lansdowne, like we have a marching band now. Isn't that great? Now, this next video is going to be about our other music teacher, Mr. Tracy. Mr. Tracy's been here for a long time, and I mean long. And he also has done countless amount of things to improve and enhance our performing arts program here at Lansdowne High School. Please enjoy this video.
Hi, I'm Mr. Tracy. I'm the vocal music and guitar teacher here at Lansdowne. Well, first and foremost, I love music, and a close second to that is I enjoy working with people. Those two things together make teaching the right career for me.
I've been in choir for 4 years. It's been a pretty cool experience. Mr. Tracy and his crazy antics. Yeah, he's crazy, but he's a cool teacher. Like, overall, I like him. He's helpful with stuff, and he helped me get into all county and stuff like that, so I appreciate him and what he's done for the program and how he is.
I am in the 12th grade. I have been in choir for 4 years. I take 2 choir classes this year for my senior year. Tracy, he's cool. Like, he makes class interesting. He trips a lot. That's funny.
Well, there's lots of people, as you'll find out as you continue to grow up, there's lots of people who serve as role models, and some people are role models for your personal life and your professional life. But the biggest role model for me is my dad, and he has always been a model of respect for me, both personally and professionally. We have a lot of stuff in common. He's the one who taught me my first couple guitar chords, and we share the same love of music, albeit he's not a professional musician like me, but he shares that common ground with me, and so definitely my father is a big one. And then, you know, being a music teacher, my music teachers have been some of the most influential people in my life. I'm lucky enough to have worked with some really, really fine educators, and so those people are really important to me as well. After school, I direct the musical, I'm the music director of the musical, I should say. We are a team of people. That's the biggest thing. Tuesdays, I do a vocal group, and Thursdays I do a guitar and songwriter club. Yeah. So that's what I'm up to this year.
Last one. If I were to call your references, what would they say about you?
They would say that I'm a high energy, hardworking, talented individual.
Mr. Tracy, well, I've been with him for about 3 years at least. And Mr. Tracy is a very dedicated teacher who does his best to, help his students, even though he might get a bit intense sometimes. He has the best intended for them, and he usually tries to make them do the most and get the best out of their goals, whether it's in the musical, in any of the side choirs or the main ones that go into competitions. And, you know, it's just, he's a very skilled teacher, and he's really helped us be successful as choir.
Right now we're testing, we have 18 step ladders here, and this is actually, they're going through a testing procedure where they got to do every ladder, 18 ladders. We do 18 ladders because repetition can cause accidents, and that's why we do it, all 18 ladders. We've been practicing all week up to this point. Now it's testing, physical testing right now. And tomorrow will be a written test, and we'll continue out here with the rest of the class to do all the tests. And then after step ladders, we'll go to extension ladders, and that's where you'll see these guys on the roof. From the extension ladders, we go into scaffolding in the blue barn, and they'll work in groups of 2. They'll have a partner for the extension ladders and for the scaffolding. So this is all part of the safety program in the Electrical Careers 1.
I want to set history. So far I'm the only girl that's taking his class throughout the whole school. I know I'm the only African American female that's taking his class, so I want to get to a point where I'm going to set some history.
My name is Mr. Stretch, okay? I got avocado right here. We're taking electrical career. We're doing big things. Right now, you feel me? We're trying to do better things in life. We're trying to make a living for real. Not everybody get this opportunity and chance. Some people pass it up, some people let it go. There's a lot of people that they really need people to do this for real. And a lot of people ain't taking it up. Right now, we filling in the spots. That's all that's money coming to us right now.
Started out as a phys ed teacher way back in the 70s. They said it was filled up, so I got out of it and then went into electrical careers. And then as I got my master's license, there was an opening as a night school teacher. So I started doing apprenticeship night school first for ABC program. And then 2 years later, there was an opening here in the county, and they asked me to do it, and I grabbed onto it. And I love it ever since. They've asked me to go to other schools, and I said, I love Lansdowne. The school they asked me to go to is only about seven minutes from my house. I said, nah, I don't want to go to a blue ribbon school when I know that Lansdowne could use what I can give. Electrical Careers offers is a 2-year program, which is an apprenticeship 1. It's basically an apprenticeship to go into the associate builders and contractors program when you get out of school. Well, between 11th and 12th grade, you have a chance to work for a contractor. 12th grade, you will work, take the required classes that you need, and then you go out to work. And then after you graduate, you go right into the 2nd year, and then the 3rd year, 4th year, and then you become a journeyman electrician, making $50,000, $60,000 a year right out of high school.
I'll say this, a dramatic impact. I think there's 3 people that have had such a dramatic impact in my life. My dad, right? Being older now, understanding what he did, you know, when I was growing up. At the time, I probably wasn't very happy with some of his decisions. But now having, you know, kids of my own, just seeing what he did in that aspect. Obviously, you know, my mom as well. And then, actually, it's an old wrestling coach of mine. Just, you know, and for various reasons, they probably had the biggest impact of my life. When it comes to like role models, like, oh, you know, this star or that person, it's crazy, but I think Bono from U2. And the reason I say that is he's eccentric, you know, but I think he's that way if he was, you know, a teacher. But he always seems to be together. He's never let, I guess, fame get too crazy on him. And he consistently looks out for others and helping with, you know, social issues and things of that nature. So it's, you know, it seems like, you know, his whole focus is wrapped around his vision of what life should be.
Okay.
I graduated college with a criminal justice degree. And back in the day, there was kind of a hiring freeze. And I was coaching. And I really enjoyed coaching. That I actually went back to school and said, you know, I wanted to be a teacher. My whole goal was to teach and coach. And so it was probably back in 1990, 91.
So what gave you the push to become a principal?
My principals. Seeing the impact that they had, how they helped teachers become better, so then that way the teachers then help the students, you know, prepare for life. So they kept giving me more responsibility, and I enjoyed being able to kind of have an impact in a bigger scheme than just my direct students in class. You know, what you were as a ninth grader, what you become as a senior, knowing that, you know, that you actually had a hand in helping you go somewhere. You know, that's the neatest part.
Lastly, we were told that you play guitar. Could you play some for us?
All right. God, it's not going to be very good.
Okay.
All right, let's see if you guys know this one. Let's see if I can. I just started learning this, so I might go, oops. This is always a classic, but you guys might not know this.
Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Enjoy the next segment.
Just as a little reminder, the main reason that everyone is here is to learn. Everyone always focuses on the wrong stuff. You guys focus on grades, and you focus on getting assignments done, and you focus on just graduating. Those are good things to think about. I'm not saying don't think about them.
Ish was my teacher in my junior year. I had him twice, and he was my baseball coach.
But your number one focus should be learning. Alright, and if you are focused on learning, then that means you're going to get your assignments done. You are going to get good grades. You are going to graduate.
He was one of my teachers for a year. I had him for 2 classes, and he was my baseball coach. He's a good teacher because he's really good at explaining concepts and everything. It feels like he knows the struggle of being a student and tries to help out all he can.
When you focus on things more like grades and just get through, that's when all of a sudden you start doing stuff like copying the person next to you. I'm not saying anyone here's done that already. Or you're like, hey, just send me a picture of that assignment we did the other day so I can just write it down, turn it in. But then you didn't learn anything. and then you get a 5 out of 5 on that assignment because maybe your teacher didn't catch that you copied it, but then what happens when you get a test? When I was in high school, I actually, some people find it surprising as a teacher, did not really like school that much. I thought a lot of my classes were kind of boring, but I've always really, really liked learning. And my junior year of high school, I had a teacher, Mr. Glenn, for physics, and he made class really interesting every day. We did tons of hands-on labs, and it was one of the first times I really remember really looking forward to going to a class. So I decided I want to teach science because I do really like science. It's interesting, it affects us every day, and I love working with young adults and think teaching science in a way that is fun and interesting is really, really important. I went to Michigan State University, and part of the reason I chose to go there was I was basically raised on Michigan State. My mom went there, my mom's dad and mom both went there, my uncle went there, so it was kind of a family thing. And when I started at Michigan State, I didn't know that I wanted to be a teacher, but it worked out well because when I switched over, Michigan State has one of the best teaching programs in the country, so it worked out well for me. The most challenging thing or part of my job is that it's constant. As a teacher, when you come in, you pretty much don't get a mental break for the entire day. You've got students need help over here, and you're making sure the announcements are good, and you got to do attendance, and your lessons have to be ready, and you got to grade stuff, and you got to pass back papers, and you got to give good feedback, and then you got to answer more questions, and you literally just don't get a break ever. So that can be very challenging. At the end of the day, you're just mentally completely wiped out. But the most satisfying part is that at the end of all of that, you get to see someone genuinely learn something new or gain self-confidence with their math abilities or their science skills or their reading abilities. Just working with young people it's very rewarding to see people learn and grow and find new passions in life or new interests in life. I currently, this year, I'm teaching physics and astronomy. I have also taught chemistry, and I've also taught math, but for sciences, physics is really my favorite subject. I love physics. Like I said, my high school physics teacher was who inspired me to be a science teacher. I think one of the cool things about physics is it's literally everything. Like physics is how the world works, how we can move from one place to another, electricity, charging all of our appliances and everything, and it's just really technology. It's every little thing in every category in science can be related to physics. Without physics, we don't know anything about science, basically. So I think it's cool to see how stuff works on an overall, kind of on the grand scheme of things. I also do really like astronomy, though. It's kind of fascinating figuring out what's out in space and what could possibly be out there and how could it affect us. But physics is my main thing, and that's where I'd say my passion is. I grew up playing baseball, so I've always loved baseball. My mom actually lied about my age when I was 4 so I could start baseball a year early when I was a little kid. So I like being around baseball, but I also, again, it's really rewarding to work with young people. It's also fun as a teacher to work with some of your students in a context outside of the classroom. You get to know them a little bit better. There's usually some mentorship that goes into coaching. It's a really fun way to work with kids in a different way that's learning about teamwork, building on skills, working together, and just really accomplishing goals. I enjoy working with the team. I love Board Game Club. We haven't started yet this year, but very soon. Again, that's another cool way to work with students outside the classroom. Strategy games are really fun. I also think it's cool. A lot of people don't realize that there are a ton of board games they've never heard of. Most people think like Risk or Monopoly, but there's a lot of really, really interesting strategy games that get you thinking outside the box and kind of thinking competitively, but in a different way. Usually people think of sports with competition, but it's another way to compete with your brain instead of physically. If you want to be a science teacher, do it. It is a lot of work. You'd be prepared to work a lot of hours, more than you probably think. But it's definitely worth it. We need more scientists in our country. We're slacking right now compared to some places, and we need to be kind of more scientifically literate and start innovating and design awesome technology and medicine for our future. And getting a chance to work with young people to inspire them to do that it's awesome. But be prepared to work hard. It's a lot of work. I am Mr. Gish, and I am passionate about teaching.
Lansdowne High School, and I teach photography for 10th through 12th grade. This is my 3rd year teaching. This is my 2nd year in high school. When I was in high school myself, I had a really inspirational photography teacher, and he really encouraged me to keep on taking photo classes and art classes, and the more I took art classes myself, I wanted to be that inspirational person for other people. That was probably about halfway through my first photo class in high school. At first it was just something to get my art credit, but the more I started taking pictures, the more I really enjoyed it, and it became something that was part of my daily life. Also, just the use of cameras and phones, and that being more of an active thing and more accessible, really made me be able to practice a lot more. So my favorite part of teaching is really seeing my students grow. So I love teaching about art and the different concepts and the different ways to get better as an artist, but personally I get much more reward out of seeing the artistic ideas grow and students go from one grade to the next and really be more independent and get a passion for the creative process that I really love myself. So last year was my first year here at Lansdowne teaching photo, so I was still kind of getting a hold of how I wanted to run the program. This year we have double the numbers that we did last year, so I have 6 photo classes that I'm teaching and 2 sections of AP. And the way that I'm running the program now is it's photo 1 and photo 2, then we go on to advanced photo and then AP photo. So it's kind of 3 sections, 4 if you count 1 and 2, until you get till AP. And last year, my AP students, all of them passed the AP exam. So I'm hoping for this year we have those same outcomes with the tests. Yeah, and there's still some that I like other than art. So art's probably the biggest thing in my life, but I also practice yoga. I'm training to be a yoga teacher right now. I really like rock climbing. When I was in high school, I did field hockey and lacrosse, and I'm coaching here, so sports are a pretty big part of my life as well. So a couple different things outside of art.
I've been taking photography for 3 years at Lansdowne. I like Miss Eckley's class because you get to show your individuality through photography, so that's really cool. Miss Eckley shows us how to do things, and it really allows us to be independent and like real photographers, so it's a really good way to like understand photography. Like she does a really good job teaching us.